I'm really high up in the rankings now. I'm like in the top 70, I think. Coronation rocking this city too. Wonder how the rankings are doing. Forden in first, Luis in second. Is it just me or has the gap widened a little bit? Kiddo's back in third place. Maybe it's because of the increasing fervor over sanctism. I'm sure your name is going around thanks to everything you've done, so hopefully your face will join theirs soon. Well, I suppose it all depends on how Luis shows up from here on out. We can't let our guard down yet. Yeah, almost 6K Madge. Nice.
Yep.
Now what am I to do?
What ranking am I? I'm 49. I'm in the top 50. I thought I was at like 60-something. As of yet, thou art but one who fights vainly to effect change. In the time to come, we shall judge if thou art a worthy vessel of our power. To become the true king of this land, thou must travel far and wide, yada yada. We're pretty much in with Luis, but if you keep this up, who knows? Maybe we'll see your face on the rock soon.
Now what am I?
Yeah, I mean, being in the top 50 of the entire country to be made king is like, it's pretty significant, but not that much, right? Because, like, realistically, only one person can be king. So, I imagine you only really consider, like, the top 5 to be reasonable choices. Anyone else, like, anyone outside of the top 5 is like, yeah, they're up there, but they're never gonna make it, you know?
Oi.
Do you enjoy pork rinds, Chaos? I don't think I've ever had pork rinds. I'm gonna be real with you, I know the word, but I do not know what pork rinds look like off the top of my head.
All right.
There's a quest straight north there. How do I get over there? Oh, it's the Night Prowler. I can just fast travel
right away.
Hello. What do you need done?
Greetings.
Well, if it isn't my friend Rogue, what a pleasure, but why the face? You're looking at me like I'm a stranger. But you visited Night Prowler. I'm its founder. Even if this is our first time meeting in the flesh, I consider any customer a dear friend. Okay. Back off a little, man. You're moving kind of fast. What do you even want with us? Well, I'm hoping you can do some negotiation on my behalf so I can get my deed back. Tragically, I had to offer it as collateral on a loan, but even after paying my creditor off, I haven't been able to get it back in my hands. What? The man in question is a respected Ishkia noble. I think Ishkia are the wing people, maybe? Whereas I'm but a humble parapus entrepreneur, I doubt I can count on the law backing me. But he won't treat a high-profile candidate with the same rudeness. That's the kind of man he is. And of course, you'll be compensated for your success. I've got some unusual armor I think you'll find quite useful. I'm on it. Ah, listen to that confidence. I feel emboldened just hearing the words. The noble in question has a certain fondness for, shall we say, blood sport? I don't doubt he's watching a fight as we speak. He's an Ishkia fellow, positively dripping with disdain for us common folk. Can't miss him, I'm sure. I'll be waiting here. You just let me know when you've got your hands on that deed.
Let's give it a shot.
Need to negotiate and retrieve the deed taken as loan collateral? I was gonna say caratical? Hello? The nobleman creditor might be at the Varmereno Coliseum and Arena Front Wharf. So we're looking for a pompous Ishkia, huh? One who enjoys watching fights, you thinking what I'm thinking? No.
All right, then.
I am, in fact, not thinking what you're thinking.
Let's go.
Oi.
Oi, oi, oi. All right. I got a lot of information to buy. Where are the informants at? Why, hello there, good sir.
Fancy a bit of info.
Money makes the world go round, as the saying goes. As long as you got it, you can do pretty much anything. So what do you want to know? A lot. I want to know a lot. Crew quarters Sergeant Xanth. Yes.
Fancy a bit of info.
There's a man named Sergeant Xanth among Lewis's subordinates. He's the officer in charge of the Caridrius's crew quarters. Naturally, he's a tough customer. Xanth. Ah, that important-looking guy we saw at Caridrius the other day. What, an acquaintance of yours? You might know this already, but he's a large man wearing armor who holds strength as justice as his creed. I hear he was once a competitor at the Coliseum. He's strong, of course, but not invulnerable. Rumor is he's weak against burn and poison, weak to fire. Well, no, the status effect, it sounds like, not just the element. Since he's wearing all that armor, it's hard for him to just take it off and deal with those. I'm sure paralysis and stun will work well, too. But Luis values power, and so while the old battle axe might have some weaknesses, if Luis trusts him, you can bet he's strong as blazes.
Gotcha.
I see. We'll have to find a way to inflict status ailments, of course, and it'll certainly be a dangerous fight if we don't have a bit of training first. No such thing as being too prepared. Let's head there when we're sure you're ready. All right. Okay. What about the starboard corridor?
Fancy a bit of info?
That old farter, Maintenance Chief Seba, he's in charge of the starboard corridor. Can't take a joke, so I've never gotten along with him. He's as strong as you'd expect, considering the authority he's been given. His magic that repels attacks is especially impressive. Okay, so he has Tetrakarn and Makarakarn. As you can guess, if you try to physically attack him, it'll bounce right back at you. The more you put into it, the more you'll end up hurting. That said, his barrier doesn't repel magic, but magic isn't especially effective either from what I hear. To win, you'll need to find a way to perform physical attacks without having them bounce back at you. Yeah, not that I expect you'll end up fighting him. Guy sounds like a massive pain in the... If we don't improve our skills, we'll be done for. Okay, I remember seeing a skill that was like undo Tetrakarn, so it must want us to use that. Since he uses magic that repels physical attacks, we'll want to find some way to dispel that too. Okay. What about Port Corridor?
Fancy a bit of info?
Master Sergeant Gleckham is in charge of the Port Corridor. Quite frankly, he's an absolute loon. Don't tell him I said that, though. I value my life. He's an intense person in a lot of ways, but the way he fights in particular is, as I said, quite mad. He starts yelling like a madman and swings his axe all around him. You'll want to watch out for it, or it'll daze you. If I recall correctly, the magic shop sells equipment that protects against that. Might be worth checking out. All the blood rushes to his head, so he falls for being provoked really easily, though. If you bring someone to act as a decoy along, I think you could beat him without much hassle. Ha, ideally you won't have to fight him, but if you do, keep that in mind.
So.
We'll need a decoy then, you know, I think there's a skill that would be useful. Well, the decoy would be Hulkenberg's ability, I guess, that draws attacks to her. And then we, like, have someone else give her Tetrakarn. But if we aren't strong enough, our decoy could fall and our strategy could be ruined. Let's ensure we improve our combat skills before fighting him. I'm buying so much. Juna?
Fancy a bit of info?
The Caradrius' helmsman, Cabio, is stationed on the bridge. He's a fervent supporter of Lady Juna. Ah, I see. I have to say, I know how he feels. She acts so sweet and has such a lovely voice. I'm swooning here. I'd almost think she was a goddess.
Come on.
We're not paying for that. What's his fighting style? You planning to spar with him? Well, he's the only one Luis granted the privilege of being the helmsman amongst all his minions, so you can bet he's a strong one.
Between us.
Having said that, he's weak to electric. Ah, it's over, bro. You're done! You'll never work in this town again. I hear he had a traumatic experience in a storm once. And rumor has it, when the weather gets rough, he even turns the steering over to his second-in-command. Pretty solid evidence, isn't it? Guess we'd better prepare some electric magic then, but he's one of Lewis's hand-picked officers, so it might be a tough fight no matter what. If time permits, we should train a bit before fighting him. Slow and steady wins the race after all, no point in hurrying. Security guard Salva. How do you have this much info? Salva, you say? He's the Caradrius' guard chief. Got some business with him. He's not someone you'll have an opportunity to meet with often. His job's to patrol the Caradrius, on the lookout for intruders. The chief of security is no pushover. He's a powerful opponent who's earned Lewis's trust with his strength. They say he's got an almighty igniter that can damage any foe. Won't be easy to guard against that. I hear he's weak to projectiles and lances, though. Maybe his reaction time's slow, what with wearing that big helmet and all. And that's about it. Remember that on the off chance you find yourself against him. No doubt he's powerful if he's in charge of Lewis's guards. If we don't come at him with all we've got, we're in trouble. We need to be confident we're ready to fight. And he uses almighty magic, right? Sounds like it'll be trouble, but maybe we can retaliate with some of our own. No, we retaliate with the thing he's weak to, you idiot. Avian of Gracia Forest.
One in on this.
I'm guessing you're after Dragon Thistleberry. The Cocasados that lord over that area loves them too, so be careful. The Cocasados will unleash terrifying attacks if it sees an opening. Some might even kill you instantly. Oh, great. Insta-kill. I gotta tap the old chaos sign of insta-kills being unfun game mechanics that should just be taken out of video games, in my opinion. I'd recommend having magic that hardens your defenses, and I hear it's weak to projectiles, so having those wouldn't hurt either. Hope your Dragon Thistleberry hunt goes swimmingly. Let's make sure we prepare. Ghost of the Tomb of Laments.
One in on this.
The Tomb of Lament, of course I can tell you all about it. The bounty's called Fadalik. People say it's a ghost. That's scary enough on its own, but the real horror is how it summons a two-headed beast called the Commenza. Oh, I fought one of those. It's not just fighting two enemies at once that's the problem. When the Commenza's around, Fadalich's attacks get stronger. It uses powerful dark magic, or so I heard from a bounty hunter who narrowly escaped from it with his life. You'd better either prepare ways to protect against magic or use the Commenza's weakness wind to take it out quick. As you might expect, seeing as it's a ghost, Fadalich is weak to light. Couldn't hurt to keep that handy.
No kidding.
Got it. Our best tactic is to devise a way to protect against its magic and also summon wind and light magic of our own. There's a Guptaris over there too. Its attacks are incredibly strong after it builds up its power, but I've heard it's weak to spears and bows. That's about it. Watch your step unless you want your next step to be into the grave. So I probably, before we go try and fight the Fadalich, I probably want to try and get the level 2 healer, I think it's called the Cleric, on Rogue so that we can have Hamaun. I imagine that would be helpful. The Fiend of the Forsaken Tower.
Want in on this?
Because most people normally stay away from the Forsaken Tower, it's become a complete den of monsters. Oh wow, it is way up there, and we have to go through some enemy gauntlet runners on the way. The Forsaken Tower is here. It's really in the middle of nowhere, isn't it? We have some very interesting, like, pathways to take.
This place. This place.
Okay.
Here's where we are now.
Alright. Among them, there's a particularly powerful giant called the Orgus. Be careful when it stores up power. Its next attack will hurt, let's just say, so keep your defenses up. But I've heard that if you can remove its buff before its next attack, the rampage won't be so bad. Fortunately, it also seems to be weak against dark magic. You'd best make sure you can use some of that. Okay, dark magic for that one. I don't think I need to know about ingredients. These are the last 2 bits of information. This guy's been helpful. Let's you know, support his business. There are a lot of shops in Brilehaven dealing in rare ingredients. There are even stands selling meat harvested from monsters and such. Other than that, there's the butcher who sells marbled bluefin tuna and briny salt from the water shop. But the only specialty good you can get from the village nearby is really mellow milk. That what's rare depends on the person, I suppose. You cook, do ya? I respect that there's more to you than strength. That reminds me, the younger of the Magnus brothers, his cooking. I've said too much, forget it. What? And village trading Port Brilehaven.
Cheers.
Do you know a village called Inundo, a little ways up north of here? It might look abandoned at first glance, but there's still shopping to do there. Then again, they sell mostly rubbish like rusty weapons and armor. Maybe if you polished them up, you'd find some rare treasures. They also sell boiling bath bombs, which is a bath salt, mellow milk, as well as toothbrushes, their specialty. That's about all I can think of. Stop by if you're heading that direction. Imagine being in a fantasy world and your specialty is a toothbrush. Okay. So we've got a lot going on. I think we're good on picking up quests. I'm just trying to see if I see any more exclamation marks anywhere. I think we've got all the bounties and quests we can do right now. I don't want to immediately jump into going to dungeons first. I think I want to rank up Strohl, because I feel like ranking up our main team members is most important. We do also want to get Maria and Barden ranked up, though. Let's hit up Strohl first and get him to 5. Maybe I should ask him. Let's go hang out. Why, hello there, Strohl.
Hey.
Hello. What's your plan for today? I get restless too, but I suppose it's important to let off steam, Say, have you got some time right now? It's about what we discussed last time. I know I must head to my village to seek clues about my inheritance, but I freeze before I can take the first step. Let's go.
Oh, right.
Well, if you're sure, then I suppose now's as good a time as any. My home, the village of Halia, is on the outskirts of Grand Trad. As we'll need the runner, please extend my apologies to the rest. With the runner, we could make it there and back before dusk, though I can't help but feel guilt to request it for such a personal matter. Let's go. With Strohl leading the way, we arrived at last to his childhood home, the village of Halia. This place has seen better days. Doesn't look like anyone has lived here for a very long time. It's a chilling sight. Traveling here by Gauntlet Runner, you'd think we were practically next door to the capital. Yet as I fled for my life, the nearest settlement felt leagues away. I recall wanting to lie down and give up on several occasions. Probably hard to tell now, but this was once the village's main road, full of people crossing every which way.
Truth is,
you used to be able to see the mountains cresting the horizon above the rooftops. It was beautiful. I wish you could have seen it like that.
No.
I know I'll see it someday. It's been 7 years since that day. It feels like forever ago, and yet only the blink of an eye at the same time. Afterward, I was shuffled between various relatives, nothing more than another mouth to feed. Fitting, I suppose, of the burden I'd become. I went to the site of our manor, but all I found was rubble. A few walls were sort of standing, but it was a sorry sight compared to how I see it in my mind. Except, I've discovered a letter.
Take this.
You've been invited to Smash Bros? There was a corner of my father's study that seemed to have been designed to withstand a fire. I found a box there with a letter inside, and I recognized the writing as my father's.
Hey.
I'm afraid I must ask a favor of you. I've no doubt this is his will, and I know I must read it. But I'm gonna go over there and do just that alone, but would you mind waiting nearby?
Yeah.
I'm here for you if you need me.
Thanks.
Thank you. It's reassuring to have you by my side. I waited nearby while Strohl read the will. Well, it's a good thing we found this. Seems I do indeed have an inheritance.
And
The will said the family's treasure was dispatched to the royal capital.
What?
It made it all the way to the capital?
yeah,
Yes, but it doesn't give a specific location. The letter is unfinished. I mean, how could it be? No one expected a murderous, rampaging human. Try not to let the anger win.
sorry.
Sorry, whenever I think back to that day. My father named me the sole heir of his estate. He even addressed the letter to my beloved son, Leon. I feel only shame at such endearments. But as it stands now, the inheritance has but one purpose: to repay the debts owed to my parents and my people. So if they would see our house rebuilt,
I'll definitely.
I'll be whatever they want me to be, a noble of prominence or otherwise. If I can make the people speak the name of House Haliatus, I forget how to pronounce his last name, Haliatus, with reverence, and once it lives on the tip of everyone's tongue, maybe then I'll be able to embrace the words, my beloved son. I never imagined the day would come that I'd come to terms with these feelings. I owe you so much and more. Let's go. Rank 5. This is our first rank 5, I believe. The highest we had before now was 4. Reduces warrior. While in reserve, the amount of experience Strohl gains increases. All right, well, I don't have people in reserve yet, but it's good that I have that ready to go when the time comes. I assume we're not going to get a new party member for the next, like, 20 days until after this deadline, so. But first things first. I'm sure he entrusted the inheritance to someone in the capital, but I have no clue who that might be.
Say,
What was your father like?
That's...
He was a big man, so much so that standing next to my mother made her look teeny. But despite his size, he solved his problems with his head. And he never treated people as lesser than him. In fact, he used to handpick the fish he would bring back to the household as gifts. Grand Trad was able to source fresh fish from Brilehaven, but in Halia, they were a rare feast.
Aha.
Hey, maybe I'm onto something. He spoke highly of the fish market, so he must have gone to the same one every time. Perhaps they'd remember him. That may be our best lead. And I'm afraid I shall once more take advantage of your generosity. When we return to Grand Trad, will you help me walk in my father's footsteps? It could still turn out fruitless, so I'll need all the help I can get. You got it, buddy.
Important.
Oh, this is, a quest now to increase my tolerance. Strohl asked me to help track down his inheritance. He recalled his father frequented the fishmonger near the Grand Cathedral in Grand Trad. I should start there. Okay.
All right.
But first, I have one more thing I'd like to look into. I think we're at a good stopping point for today, besides. All right,
Let's
sure.
head back.
Thank you, Rogue. Let's head back to the Gauntlet Runner.